Good evening, Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome to episode 4 of TCG Presents Bourbon with O. Today, as you guys can see, we have another guest. We're going to be, getting to know him a little bit. We have him on here because today we wanted to talk about money. You know, as we all know, not having money is the root of all evil. That's what they say? No? Oh, okay, my bad. I thought that's what they said, but I guess I might be wrong. But we're going to get into it a little bit. I'm excited for this one just because it's something that a lot of people don't like to talk about. It's something that, we're told to shy away from for various reasons. So we're going to get in there. We're going to talk about it. We're going to chat about it. But before we do that, I want Chris to tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're here sitting with us.
Sure. So I'm from Boston originally, outside of Boston, and I started my own sales and marketing firm 10 years ago. It's been 10 years ago, 2010, almost 10 years ago, in a few months. I've run a business in Philadelphia. That's where I started it for 6 years. Then in between the Baltimore and DC area for a couple of years. Expanded it to Tennessee and then to Charlotte here earlier last year.
Solid. That's what's up. That's what's up. So cool. Just to kick it off, I want to open it up. Just general, what I want to know. What does money mean to all of us? Everyone here is, not shy about talking about money. I mean, Robbie was a little shy for the longest time. He's not anymore, so that's great. But I want to know, what does money mean to you guys?
For sure. Who wants to go first?
I'll kick it off.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So for me, money is options.
Okay.
Money allows you the opportunity and availability to do some things that you just really want, just based off because most things in life, you have to be able to acquire a certain amount of income to even follow through with it. So for me, biggest thing for me is like I'm not in it to get rich. I'm just in it to get to be able to do whatever the hell I want with my life.
Okay.
All right. At the drop of a dime, I can drop everything and fly to Paris if I wanted to. Like those are the kind of options I want.
That's what rich people do, no?
Right. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
Right. But I don't look at it as like, yo, I need to chase the bag. Like because I know some people are so money focused and money driven they can't really enjoy. The part of just living because they're continuously trying to get as much money as they possibly can, knowing good and well the more you can die with it, right? Because you can't take it with you. All right. So for me, I just want to be able to flourish and take full advantage of the one life that I have. All right. So for me, I just want to be able to just enjoy each and every day and not have to worry about any decision that I make based on my financial situation.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's dope. I think for me, money is like the fuel to your vehicle, right? Like if the vehicle being like your life, if I picture my life as a vehicle, I think the money allows me to move my life in a specific direction. That's why I don't think everybody needs the same amount of money. If I'm okay living a mediocre life and the 3-bedroom house, then that's where my vehicle is going. I just need enough fuel to get me there. Chris's vehicle might be going somewhere else. Okletey's vehicle is for sure is going somewhere else. So you just need enough fuel to get you to wherever that is. And I think it's okay if you need more fuel than me, or if I need more fuel than you. I don't know where your vehicle's going, but like for me, the money is necessary to move you in that direction wherever it is you're trying to get to.
I like that. I think for me, like, money, it's kind of going along with what you said. Like, for me, like, money is, the way I'm going to use it is for opportunities. Like, to do cool things, to go where I want to go. But it's also going to allow me to, this is getting a little deep, but it's going to allow me to give my future family and my future kids the life that I never really had. And like to be able to go on trips and be able to go and travel and like be able to give my kids options, not like, oh, we can't really afford those pair of cleats, so we'll, like little things, right? Like I think that's one thing that fuels me, is knowing what money can do for me and also allow me to do. Like I want to be able to travel the world, man. I want to start a nonprofit organization. Like, the only way I'm going to be able to do that is to have some money to start that. You know, and I don't ever want to be stressed about finances. I think all of us have been there before. Like, it's not enjoyable. No one likes that. But then, well, I don't want to jump too much into the topic yet, but I'll get there in a second. But that's kind of what it is for me. It's just opportunity to do things.
I think another thing, I was going to touch back on it too, because you just brought something up. I think that it changes the quality of life that you live, right? I'll just give you guys like a quick example. Yesterday, some sales guy, I was telling Okletey, some sales guy came to my house to like sign us up for like test our water for hard water versus soft water. I'm like, man, I'm not buying this shit. Like, I'm in sales. I mean, you're not about to sell me. So I was trying to be like a tough customer. And then he goes through all the presentation, and we had hard water. We had like the water, when he put the chemicals and everything, you saw how dirty it was. And he showed us like higher quality of the shit that we consume, drinking water. And I was like, let me ask you, how many presentations typically equal a sale? He's like, 8 out of 10 people that I present to are gonna get it if they can afford it, right? You know it's better for you, like it's clearly better for you, but it's not a purchase that you can justify making because you don't have the finances to do so, right? But if you did, you would get it, right? And I think that if you can make a decision of what's gonna help you live longer, this is something you put into your body, but you don't get it because you can't afford it, the quality of life that you live is less than someone who can afford to make those decisions, right? So, you know, grateful he sold us, like we purchased it because like I was sold on the fact that I drink this shit. Once he got to the fridge and did the fridge water, it was over. I was like, man, we gotta get this. And it cost like after everything was like $7,500 something. But I was able to justify that purchase because I'm like, shit, I want to live a longer life. And this can help me do that. I'm gonna do that shit. There are people who would have said no to that based on the price tag of it, not based on what they actually wanted. So I think that's another thing about life is it changes type of stuff that you can, how long you live. Okletey goes to shops at Whole Foods and shit now, right? And gets bougie with the type of food that he buys. Oh no, reads the ingredients, right? People don't read the ingredients.
Die.
He's like,
that's obvious.
But like, we gotta read shit, you know what I mean? Like, you guys go to the chiropractor every week, right? And you get adjusted, and most people think chiropractic care is not necessary. Like, oh, you're just adjusting. Like, it changes how you feel. You stop having headaches, but you're able to make purchases based on what you need for yourself, not based on what you can afford. So it changes life in general. Yeah. So I just wanted to like just made that purchase. And I'm like, damn, what if I couldn't do that? You know, it's water. It's not that big of a deal, but you might not think it's that big of a deal, but it makes up what, 75% of us.
Yeah,
it's scary.
Yeah. To me, I think that money is happiness. But I'm just kidding. It's like choices. It's options. It's like freedom, and I think that some of it's security. And then probably more than any of that, I think it's a tool. I think it is a tool to fuel all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, over options, choices, all of that stuff, it is a tool. I don't think enough people think about it that way.
100%. And that's exactly what I think money is. I think money is a tool. You know, it's a tool to, like, in my mind, you want money so you can actually experience everything that human nature has for you, but at the same time not be a prisoner to what human nature has for you. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, human nature, where you're gonna be sick, right? You're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna be all this stuff. You have money, you release yourself from those things. You know, like back home, when people say malaria is a serious disease, and it's not a serious disease based on your economics, right? So if you have malaria and you have money, that shit is a 1 week ordeal. If you have malaria and you don't have money, you're dying. And that's just that's just, you know, because it's like, you know, you take one malaria pill, that's $10, right? And you take that once a week to prevent malaria because you're gonna get bitten. just because of the way you live, right? So it's like, that's a huge difference. And people's like, oh man, you know, you're always talking about money and blah, blah, blah. It gets obnoxious. I'm like, I'm sorry, that's what's on my mind, because at the end of the day, I'm not about to be a prisoner of sickness and you know, crazy people suing you for crap and, you know, your car dying. And I'm not about to do that. So 100%, man. It's a tool to live the way you want to live, not, you know, based on what society tells you can afford. You know, based on, you know, what your employer values you at. So
Definitely, you know, I view money as opportunity, and I think that's kind of to kind of pitch off of a little bit of what you guys were saying. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's you know, it opens a lot of doors. You know what I mean? Like, I think, you know, it puts you in a room with the type of people that you really want to be around. You know what I mean? To learn the type of information that's really going to be impactful. You know what I mean? I think, you know what I mean? I've gotten the opportunity to be in the room with people that have given me information that I wouldn't have gotten from a professor that teaches business. You know what I mean? No professor that teaches business.
no shots to
told
the
me.
professor.
No shots. No. You worked hard for that degree. And you know, that information is extremely impactful to me because, you know what I mean. I've learned a lot about, you know, ways to invest money that, you know, it doesn't even seem that hard. Do you know what I mean? And I think, you know, you gain that opportunity to learn that type of information by you know, being in a room of people like that. So I mean, I think money is opportunity. I remember I was in New Orleans and I walked by a building downtown, and it was right next to an apartment complex. And I was talking to one of the people that stayed in there, and they told me the rent was like $2,100. I was like, that's absurd. And the building like connected to it was abandoned, right? And in my head, I'm like, that's weird. You know what I mean? Like, if any, like, obviously being able to afford to renovate and make that building an apartment, it would obviously work.
Yeah.
It's connected to another one. I mean, there's one like right across the street from it too, and everyone, it's full. You know what I mean? I even asked one of the ladies downstairs, you can't get in, they're full, right? And it makes no sense to me. I'm like, people wouldn't pay for it. Now, if I had the money to buy that structure at that period of time, which of course would probably cost a lot of money, and to renovate and fix it, you know what I mean? The opportunity that would bring forth would be insane.
But if you are the owner of that building, right, and it's $2,100, and there's another one that is just there, and this place is trending, would you sell now? Exactly, right? I'm just saying I wouldn't sell now.
No,
Like, I'd wait. You know what I mean? Like,
of course.
you know, I would, but anyway. But you know, let's move to, you know, the next thing. So we all agree money is important, no?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's important. That's why we wake up. That's why we come here. I'm not saying that's why we wake up. You know, I wake up because of you, Megan.
Yeah.
It's cool points, right?
Nice
Brownie
answer.
point,
Good
right?
answer.
Yes.
Go.
Happy wife, right? But that's why we put on the suits, and that's why we come in here. That's why we're excited to come in here, right? It's to earn a good living and to do all that stuff. So we all grew up in different cultures, but I think it's fair to say that every single culture has some notion of, oh, you don't talk about money. It's bad. Money is the root of all evil, right? Don't ask someone, you know, how much they're making, how much this costs, this and that. So why is it such a, you know, why is it such a topic that we avoid on a daily basis?
When I think of money as the root of all evil, like,
I think of money as a what?
no, when I think of the saying,
Okay.
money is the root of all evil, right? I think of it being taught in a church, like that's where I heard it. And I think the reason why is because the message that I think people mean by it is, if you're doing anything to get money, then you're doing it in evil ways. Like, you know, whatever the case is. I think when people try to have and get money to make them happy, I think that's what that means, right? Like that's the root of all evil. Like that's not the way to be happy. But I think just like what it can do. I mean, it's amazing. I was talking to someone today, and she was saying, oh, you know, I worked for this company for so many years. And you talk about being in a prison of society in the sense of like retirement, like what she gets. She lives off of less than $1,000 a month.
Oh!
And I joked around with her. I was like, a week, right? And she was like, no, a month. And like it clicked with me. I was like, oh my gosh, you were so limited. And she was such a sweet, you know, lady. She was 80-something years old. And I'm like, man, your son has to take over your bills now because you can't afford that.
But here's the thing, right? Money is the root of all evil, right? That's bullshit. I'm sorry. Like,
It is.
You know, and
It
we're
is.
probably gonna get
Touch on it after, too.
we're probably gonna get a bunch of hate on this, but you know what? It is what it is. You know, do what you will. Listen, like you don't watch the news and you see, oh, a millionaire with more money than he knows what to do with robbed somebody. Huh? No, like it doesn't happen. It's, you know, what usually happens is people who don't have stuff are pushed to committing crimes to get stuff. That's what happens. You know, and I make this joke all the time. Not having money is the root of all evil, because that's what drives people to do certain things. Because we've built a society that everything you do is built around money. You know, I went and looked at a daycare. You know how much that shit costs? Oh, you probably do, right? That shit expensive. You know, just a daycare. You know, look after a baby. You know, there's a list, and you gotta pay shit to be on the list, and then when you get on the list, you gotta pay some more shit. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But that's the society we live in. Everything. You apply for insurance, you have to pay to apply for insurance. Not pay for the insurance, you have to pay to apply for shit. You know what I'm saying? So you need money for everything. So when people say money is the root of all evil, absolutely disagree with that. It's bullshit. It's a lie.
Here's my thing on that, right? When people are saying that, they're speaking from the standpoint of what they would do, right? So it's like people love to put their perception onto you, right? In their brain, they're like, I would do some shit right now to get some money. Like, I'd fucking hurt someone if I had to. That's what they think, right? So because they have those evil thoughts and they're thinking in that way, like, damn, I'm so broke right now. If I could get some money, I would do some shit. So because they're thinking that way in their mind, they're like, no, this is the root to all evil. And they think that other people are thinking that way. I'm not thinking that way.
No.
The guy who has, you know, who's doing very well for himself, makes $10 million a year, you can see someone who's really well off pass up opportunity to make money. Because they're at a point where they understand that I'm not willing to put myself in that position just to make that, right, for the short game. I'm playing the long game, and I understand that I don't need that right now. But people who don't have it place more value on it, and they're willing to do a lot worse things for it than people who do actually have it. So it kind of goes with what you're saying, like money, not having it makes you have those thoughts, right? And then the second reason I think people say that is because, like, anything we're not familiar with, it becomes scary to us, right? Or we have to have like it's a negative thing about it. That's why the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. It's like because they're not sure of how to be in that position, they associate rich people with bad and poor people with, you know, victims. Or, you know, money's the root to all evil, but it's because they're not familiar with it. So we need a villain, right? People need a villain. And I think that when they don't have access to reach into certain positions, whoever did reach into that position, there's evil there. Because it's just unfamiliar territory, and we need to put a figurehead there.
Well,
right? And that's money. It's a figurehead of bad things. People who have a lot of money are typically the nicest people. They're the ones who go, they meditate. They're philanthropists. They give thousands of dollars in donations. Like,
I want to correct on that, right? Not everybody, but I think the people that work really hard to earn the amount of money that they have, those are the people that do those things. And I think there's a difference between people who have money and then people who also worked really hard to get where they are, right? So like
Right,
people
right,
in this,
right. I agree.
people, yeah. So like a lot of the people that we know,
I'm talking about people who respect the grind.
yeah,
They've made a certain amount of money now. They usually get back.
They worked hard for it. Like they
Yeah.
have a right to be proud of that, and I don't think there's a reason
Thank you.
for anyone to have to hold back.
Thank you.
But
And it's
for
a certain
me,
level of entitlement too. Like if I work hard for my money, and I can give thousands of dollars in donations. The moment I tell somebody no, oh, he's a rich asshole. But it's like no, you don't see what
where
I
else
do.
I'm putting my money?
You don't see the people that don't give money. So like,
But
I'm not an
that doesn't matter, right? I don't think that should matter. If I have, you know, $1 billion, right?
A lot of money.
And see, you know it's a lot when you don't know what number that is, right? But like, I live my life by rules. That's how I earned that much, right? So if you ask me for money and I say no, I have every single right to say no. Wherever I'm putting my money,
It's not your concern.
no, I could go buy a $700, you know, cat litter box thing. You can't ask me for money.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's my money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you
My
can't
money and I need it
like,
now.
like, judge me all you want, but you calling me a rich asshole because I decided to buy something that you feel is frivolous versus what you need is not okay. Because listen, man, again, money is a tool. I use it to get what I value. I value not cleaning a litter box over you that I don't know that decides not to work hard getting ahead. I do, and you know, call it mean, call it rude, whatever it is, but no, I don't think it matters. What I do with my money doesn't matter to someone who had nothing to do with how I made it.
Yeah, and the hard-fought battles of what you had to do to get that money, if you want to reward yourself by purchasing something that makes your life slightly easier, which goes back to what I was saying, like the quality of life that you live, it's your prerogative if that's what you want to do.
Right.
But people are judging. They're on the outside looking in, I feel like.
It happens a lot, but I want to hear what you have to say about that, though.
I think that I think money sometimes is a way of keeping track of score, and when you have, I think really doing that, you know, going, hey, not giving a handout is also sometimes the way that people. It's a lesson people need to learn. You know, because I think that when you said that you see some of these people with money that have always had money, maybe they didn't work hard for it, whatever. You know, sometimes I think they operate different ways. I think someone that's had to earn it and learn the value of money, I think how they operate is different. And and so I think for me personally, some of the lessons that were tough to learn but that served me well was when I asked for a handout and no one gave it to me. You know, and I want a handout, and it wasn't there. I'm grateful now, but I think when you have to go through that, I think it you know, it serves you well.
That's dope.
So why, like, we go through years of school, no?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if, like, I don't know about you guys, but when I was in school and I hated going to school until I got to college. Believe it or not, I couldn't stand it. But the entire time, I'm thinking, okay, so I wake up early as hell. I go through traffic, you know. I have to go to school before I can play soccer. You know what I mean? Like, I have to do all this stuff so I can get into college, so I can get a good job, so I can make money and live a good life. But yeah, we're not talking about money. The whole time through school, we're not talking about money. So, and again, I grew up in Ghana. Y'all grew up in the States, and y'all don't talk about money. We didn't talk about money back home. You know, I learned about money from my dad and watching my dad and all that stuff. So, the real thing is like, why isn't it talked about? Like
In school or
in
in
school.
the house?
In school.
Who's gonna teach us?
I think it's I think a couple of things about that are interesting. I think that one is I think the whole idea to go through school. People talk about I went to school, I'm gonna get this degree so I can get a good job. The idea is like, I'm doing it all to be able to make a good living. And I think sort of the way school is now is it's designed, it's to make a living, not to make a fortune. Like it is, it's
Okay.
like, it is like, it's designed just to make a living, right? Like, get a job, get a career, something where you make a living. And I think that the way it is right now is you have to either, you've got to self-educate yourself if you want to make a fortune. The way schools are now, unless it's a school I haven't heard of or haven't been to, like, you just don't go somewhere where they,
That's why
It
YouTube
is-
University is like that's a thing
Yeah.
now. You know what I mean? Right.
so I think that, you know, maybe there's a way to make that, you know, to make that change, but I think right now it's, school is living, you gotta do some stuff on your own if you wanna make a fortune. I also think there's some stuff that, you know, just, that, some things that should be taught in school that aren't. I think it's wild that there's no class you take in middle school or high school that is about credit. I think that would be
Yeah.
really helpful.
I-
More helpful than so many things that this time is spent on.
True.
You know, like personal money management, I think would be, like personal money management and classes on how to really understand credit. I run into so many adults,
Yeah.
that have just are kind of clueless, and they're passing at it, you know, if the only way that their kids are learning about credit is from them, people are in trouble.
Yeah. No, yeah, like you're absolutely right. And like last week, I was talking to one of the guys that works here. No names, and they're probably gonna know I was talking about them when this comes out. But they're like, you know, they're like, you know what? Listen, man, I want to get a car by the end of the year. I'm like, all right, so why don't you get a car now? And he says to me, he's like, yeah, you know, my credit and blah, blah. His credit's not so bad, but he doesn't have, you know, anything to trade it in, or he doesn't. And I said, hey, you know what? If you get a credit card, right? You get a credit card, and you use that credit card and pay it off immediately. You do that, but at the same time, you put $50 aside every single week. You'll get a very nice car at the end of the year. And he looks at me, he's like, whoa, it's a lot easier than I thought. Yeah, right? But this was a 5-minute conversation, right? Because people are not doing the math. They're not doing the math. And I've said this a lot, man. People are in trouble, and people are, is it broke or poor? Which one is it? I'll say broke for his sake and my sake. I'd like to deal with him when he's not broke. But seriously though, it's like, I'm like, dude, look at that. But it's so simple. But I think people are poor because a lack of financial education. Not because of how much they're making. Yeah, some people don't make a lot. Like if you're making minimum wage, it's really hard to get out of that shit. You know what I mean? I know that. Like I see the numbers. I talk to people all the time. I was like, yeah, man, I don't know how to help you with this shit. Like you gotta go hungry. You gotta choose lights or food. You know. But if you're making an all right living, or even a little under average, and you have like financial education, you can come up. It just takes time, it takes discipline. But why are you going to be disciplined when you cannot see a blueprint to get out of that? And the blueprint is the education. It's like, you don't know how to get out of that. So you're like, well, what the hell? I'm just going to dive deep in the circle. And you know what? It's YOLO. But the bullshit is, no, that's a lie, man. You're going to live this miserable life every goddamn day.
Well,
I'm gonna take the unpopular opinion and kind of side with the schools a little bit, because I think we put too much pressure on the school and not enough pressure in our household. And I think a lot of the things that we think and just like how we move and how we operate in terms of our relationship with money is just things that are said in passing in the house. Things that you hear on a daily basis, right? And I think schools do a really good job, regardless of the curriculum. A lot of the messages and things that I learned in school were in just stuff that my teachers said to me. Like those are like gems of life. Of like, hey man, go to class. I'm like, I got 5 more minutes before class starts. It doesn't matter if you have 5 more minutes, just go early. Like those little things, that's what you need for business, right? That's what you need to do well in business. And a lot of, if you really look back at a lot of your teachers, they're teaching you life concepts to help you make money, right? And I think that there's a maturity level in high school that even if we had a curriculum for credit, I'd have probably skipped that class.
100%.
Right? So it's not the fucking school 100%. Like, oh, school didn't teach us. Yes, they did. You just weren't in class that day. You're in the hallway, right? Like, school is not just 100% of the problem. I think that the things that my mom says to me in the house matters. I didn't have anything in school about money, credit, or anything like that, right? But my upbringing, like for my mom, she says certain things to me that I understand, okay, this is going to be important in the long run. And when I go out and I find friends and I go out and I meet business partners like you guys, I go, oh, this is the shit my mom was talking about. Okay, let me put myself in a position to understand this. And we need more accountability for us not picking up on the clues. I had no credit information in school. I had no financial classes in school. I picked up on it. So it's not just the school, it's a decision
You
to
were
go.
educated on that,
On what?
on credit and financial stuff.
Not in school.
Self-taught.
No, okay, so here's the thing, right? Schooling, not synonymous to education,
Mm-hmm.
right? I know a ton of people that
Not
got
in the
a shit
house
ton
either,
of-
though. It was
But that's
more or less just
education,
like,
right?
just make good decisions.
By who? From who?
For my mom, just make a decision. It
That's
wasn't
education.
anything particular about, yeah.
That is education,
Right.
right? It is education. Like, look, the Bushman of the Kalahari Desert is educated. Like, they've never been to a day of school. I'm just saying, it's like, you know, schooling and education equal
Not
to
synonymous.
sign. It's not correct. And my thing is financial education. You know, and you're right. A lot of times, like, schools didn't teach me that.
At all.
But watching my dad's example educated me on that. My mom's, you know, frugal ways. God, I hope she's not watching this. But her frugal ways educated me on a lot of this stuff, right?
Mhm.
But it's just the truth. It's just how it is. You have people come and sit down with you in interviews, and the most timid they are is when they're asking about money. The most timid they are is when they're asking about the reason they're here. Like you're conditioned to do that, you know. It's like, you know, and you say, yeah, okay, it's the household. Where are they learning it from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where are they learning from? Where their parents learn it from? And it's, you know, there's a reason, you know, for
So
most people
how
to get out
hard
of
is it to
poverty.
break cycles then? If
God,
you're saying that, then that just raises the question of how hard is it? Because it's a certain level of difficulty to
Dude.
break a cycle.
It takes 8 generations
Yeah.
to get out of poverty. That's the statistic. 8 generations to get in America, where everyone has an opportunity. 8 generations. We're talking damn near 700 years to break a cycle of poverty. We cannot underestimate how powerful that shit is.
Right.
So you want to break that, it has to be like intense education, like what we're talking about this afternoon. That's not enough though. A belief that you can get out of that. Like some shit in your heart that says there has to be something different out. Like there has to be something different out there. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, you know, growing up, I just knew instinctively that there had to be different shit. I saw it every day. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a great life. I never not want to live this way. You know what I mean? I didn't. Like, I was like, shit. I drove to school and I saw some poor people. I don't want to live that way. I know I did not do anything to deserve this. But God help me, I want to keep this. Yeah.
That's the highlight right
Hey,
there.
at least you're
That's the
grateful.
fucking
Dude,
highlight.
that was
right
the
there.
truth. I was sitting in the car, in the back of my dad's car, and watched these kids, and we're driving to his office, and I'm like, damn, they did nothing, you know, to be there. And I did nothing to be here, but I'm thankful.
But
We
I'm
ain't
in
trading.
here,
No,
you're
no,
out
we
there.
ain't trading.
No, I'm not switching places. No, fuck that shit. Listen, I get it, right? But for me, like, I've met so many other people that didn't grow up that way, but they have that, you know, that internal hunger. I was like, there has to be something different. You know, like, life is too precious for this shit to be in. You know what I mean? So it just, there has to be something out there. And it's, you know, I didn't have to generate that. I didn't have to have that. But there's a lot of people that had to have that. You were talking about you. It was like, yeah, you had to have that. There's something in you. It was like, okay, there has to be more. I have to educate myself. I have to listen. I have to pay attention.
Right. Chris, I want to ask you something. So there's a quote that says, if you divided all the money in the world amongst everyone in the world in 5 years, and you did it evenly, in 5 years, all of the money will be back in the same hands, in the same pockets. So when I hear something like that, it sounds like there are people who are, I don't know if they're destined or whatever you'd call it. What would you say about a statement like that? Because that's a powerful thing to say, and it makes someone almost feel like
I'm screwed.
If my money's coming back like this in 5 years, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Right? So like, when you hear something like that, what do you think?
I think it's decisions.
Mhm.
First thing that pops into my head is just decisions. Yeah, I think that it is that, you know, to break cycles, I don't know, I think it's like, it's taking small steps. I think that having, you know, like consumer culture, you know, there are companies that make money on people that don't have very much money.
Yeah.
There are companies that make money on people who have some money, right? And there's like traps people fall into, I think, at every phase in the game of like building wealth and of making money, and you just got to make like consciously make good decisions. It is way easier to have your lifestyle increase, right? Like, you know, if we're drinking like a nice bourbon right now, I don't want to go back to drinking like the bourbon in college, right? Like, no, I don't want to go back. But if I'm, you know, it comes with anything. It's like, so I think that when you give people more money than they used to have, and that's why I think the difference in earn and give, right? So when you earn it, you knew what it took to earn it. I think you make generally better decisions. When you're given money, and that's why I think that I think there's probably a lot of truth to if you just divided it, because then you give people money that didn't ever have to become the person they needed to become to create the wealth. It was just they were giving it to them. And when you're given a lot of money, generally what you're going to do is spend it. And when you increase the lifestyle, it's hard to go back. I think that, and I think the mistake a lot of people make is that they increase their lifestyle whenever they, you know, I got a tax return, oh, I got some more money, let me go spend it. I got a raise, let me find a way to go spend it. I got approved for this credit card, let me go get it. I got approved for this car. You know, I got at one point got approved for, I think it was when I was buying my first house, I got approved for like a $1.2 million home. And at that point, it would have been the dumbest thing I could have ever done to buy the $1.2 million home. Yeah. But what most people do is go, I could approved for this. That's what I'm going to shop for.
Approval? Say less.
I bought I think it was like a $300,000 home because it's not, you know, you don't get the car that you're approved for. It's making decisions to get, you know, to live a lifestyle that's under what you can. I think, so it doesn't surprise me where if you divided money and you go back.
Okay.
I think
so
a lot
that
of
makes
decisions,
sense.
at least that's my thought.
I think a lot of people, and at one point definitely myself, made decisions based on what they saw and their bank account, you know, what they saw available at the time versus what they could actually afford.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, you know what I mean? So like kind of like what you're saying, like, oh, like I can't do this, so I'm gonna. It's like you can do that. What should you do?
So
Like,
tell people then.
No, can you?
How do you determine when you can afford it?
Okay, so listen.
If it doesn't change your lifestyle at all, but based on what you can afford,
I don't know, man. I
like
don't know.
if I could, like, let's say I could afford, like, so, in the next 2 years, I want to get a Subaru WRX STI, stick shift, blacked out, everything, right? So let's say right now, like
Very
I
specific.
could have, because I know what I want. I could afford it. All right. There's different meanings of what I can afford to what someone else can, or what they think that.
But
means.
generally,
Let's say I had the money to get that. Does that mean I should get it? Probably not.
But
I
you
want to
can't
have
afford it.
well
So when can you
more.
afford
You can't
it?
afford it.
But
Listen,
I think people will do whatever they have to do to be able to
No,
have it.
people will see a number in their bank account, right? And they see that number, and it's equal to the monetary value of whatever they want, and in their minds they can afford it. You can't afford it.
No.
You can't
You pay
afford
for it.
Yeah, right? But you pay
big
for it
one.
twice, right? You pay for it from your pocket, and then you eat ramen noodles. You know what I mean? If you can afford ramen noodles. Like, you cannot afford it. If, like, the money is here, okay, and there's a stick of value in something, well, I can afford it. Wrong. Like, so many, like that,
Nice car.
so many people, like $1.2 million. Oh, I can get me a loan for $1.2 million. Foreclosure in 3 fucking months because you don't have the money because you have to live, you have to eat food, you have to buy clothes. So when people say, "Oh, you know what? I can afford something," I'm like, "Can you? Like, really? Like, can you afford it? Can you pay for this and actually not really stress about your life?"
So that's the rule. I'm asking from a standpoint of like coaching. Like if I had to, people who like, hey Dante, can you teach me about money? And like, you think I should pay for this? Do you think I can afford this? What's your rule of yes, you can afford it, no, you cannot?
I think I live by.
No, go for it.
I think I easily live by, and this kind of even goes back to kind of what, I mean, maybe what you were saying earlier. I mean, I think I live by what my dad taught me. You know what I mean? Like my dad said to me, "You shouldn't have it if you can't pay for it twice." You know what I mean? He told me to consider things like, how does it make sense to own the Mercedes Benz if the Mercedes Benz hits something and you can't pay for the
Thank
fender?
Yeah.
Thank you.
If your next paycheck isn't big enough to cover the fender of that car, why would you have it? Now you're
Right.
riding around with
Right.
a broken car. Even it doesn't hold the same value to you
Bro,
now.
driving around
a
a beat up Mercedes is the worst.
Yeah,
Than
driving
driving
around
around
a beat up Honda.
Yeah, good.
It makes more sense with the
Yeah,
Honda.
man.
You know what I mean?
They let you rock. They let you slide with the Honda.
Not with the Mercedes.
They're like, oh,
I
yeah,
saw
yeah,
Mercedes
yeah.
Benz the other day.
Yeah.
It was on a spare, and I was like, come on,
Oh,
man.
come on, bro.
You can't treat the Benz like
You
that.
can't, yeah,
the
you gotta
Mercedes
put a
like
real
that.
tire on it. You know what I mean? So
Doesn't work.
I think it goes back to just kind of what you were taught. I think sometimes I think it's important for people to give themselves the right exposure. Do you know what I mean? If you know you're not informed on something, are you making sure you're putting yourself in a position to be informed on it, or are you making stupid decisions?
Then,
Right.
how many people are aware that I don't?
That's common sense.
Well, one
I
of the
don't think
ways.
so.
Are you following it? Listen, I think intuition tells you certain things, and I think you make the decision
No.
to follow it or not.
Fuck intuition. People are so smart, they'll justify it. People justify anything that they
Deadass.
want.
You're going against gut feeling.
No,
Deadass.
it's like, no, it's not a
Gut,
no,
feeling.
no.
gut feeling tells you
I wanna hear
fast
what
food's
Chris
bad for
about to
you,
drop some
but you
gems.
go through the drive-thru.
Chris
People
about to drop some
justify
gems on it.
eating McDonald's.
Of course.
They justify that.
I just
Gut
said that. It's
intuition
because
told
we
you
can
saying.
afford.
Your
Right?
gut intuition told you it's bad for you, but you made the decision.
No,
to do
that's I can completely back that up
Just
because
saying.
when I justify
Of
not going to the
course.
gym, I know I should, but I
Bro,
justify
so
not doing it.
this week I wrote down my goals, right? And I'll throw myself under the bus. I was like, I'm drinking a gallon of water every day. The only day I'm gonna drink alcohol is bourbon night, which is tonight. And
Why would
every
you do
morning, rules are made to be bent, right? So and then the only day I'm gonna what I say? I'm gonna go to the gym 6 a.m. in the morning, and I'm gonna meal prep every night. So last night I was super tired. I was like, damn, I didn't meal prep. I'm tired though. And I stayed up till like 12 a.m. meal prepping, got the food made, packed it, whatever. So I checked everything off for Sunday. But I didn't have the timing down right, so it overlapped, and I went to bed like 1 something. I had to be up by 5 something. I didn't go to the gym this morning. But I was like, oh, but I was doing the right thing yesterday, right? It's easy to justify things, bro. At 6 a.m. when I want to sleep, that made sense. I was like, I deserve to sleep. I did the right thing yesterday on Sunday.
Justify.
I can get it on Saturday because I just need 5 days I need 5 days in the gym and I'm straight. But you can justify anything that you want.
You can.
Right? I have
Smart
people-
enough.
Huh?
We're smart enough.
We are smart
to
enough
justify
to
anything.
I think fear is a motherfucker. Do you know what I mean? Because I remember when I was in college, do you know what I mean? And I was playing college football. I remember there were a handful of nights where maybe I stayed out and I had some drinks and I was up till 1, 2 a.m., whatever. I had to be at practice at 5 a.m.
Yeah, but you're only afraid of what you know hurts.
Of course.
Exactly. So what I'm saying,
Right.
like,
What
you
I'm
made it to
saying-
practice because you were like, if I don't
make it to practice, this is gonna be bad.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Whole team
But
runs and they hate you.
I think for me, you can make the decision to put systems in your life for anything. Do you know what I mean? Like I understand, yeah, of course.
You can, and it's, like humanity sometimes interferes with that, right? Like I'll give you an example. This morning, bro, woke up, and I was talking to Dante about this. Woke up this morning, like, Megan left me on the couch because I was sleeping hard, she said, and I was snoring real loud, so she just left me because she was like, she doesn't want to wake me up. So I'm asleep. I wake up at 11:30, right? Which tells you what time I slept. But right?
You liked something on my Instagram at like 2 a.m. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, because I woke up at 2:40 something.
Yo,
like
up.
after I had gone to bed, and woke up at 2:40 something. I was thirsty, man. I went and got some, water, and I sat there and I was like, man, I need to go to bed. I couldn't fall asleep until 4 o'clock, right? So I went to bed at 4 o'clock. Alarm goes off at 5 in the morning. 5. Which, it is what it is. I gotta get up, go to the gym, all that stuff. And I looked at my phone, put on the ironing board next to me. And I said to myself, 5 more minutes. Just let me close my eyes a little bit.
That's what I did this morning.
That's the worst lie to tell yourself.
Bro,
What?
so I lay there.
That's gambling.
I
That's like Russian roulette.
I lay there in bed, right? And there's something that I was telling Dante, it's not that hard to do, but I do now. I just don't think about stuff like, have conversations in my head. I say it out loud so I can experience it with a different sense. You know what I mean? So I'm lying there and I'm talking to myself. And I'm like, you said 5 minutes. You didn't even set an alarm for 5 minutes. How you gonna know it's 5 minutes, And I'm like, damn. I'm lying there. And then I said to myself, I'm like, you ain't gonna hear this. Like, there's no alarm. I either set the alarm or get up. And I say to myself, I was like, get your ass up, man. Like, come on, man, get out there. And Megan was like, babe, you either stop talking or you get out of here. It's like, I'm going, babe. And it's just like, like you're right, you have systems, right? One of my systems is I need to talk out loud. Because if I don't say it out loud, nobody can hear it. And I can keep it to myself and be like, oh yeah, I'm good, I justified it. But if I said it out loud, who am I justifying it to? You know what I'm saying? And when you say shit and you listen to it sometimes, you're like, you just said that? Like, come on, man, you're smarter than that. like you say some shit to Stephanie, or sometimes you're like, God damn, I said that out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is a problem.
It's like getting cash out the ATM versus swiping your card.
Oh, I need to do that.
When you have to when you had to break $100 bill for a $6 purchase,
Hell no.
I don't know if this is worth this greatness, right? But if I swiped it, we going.
Hey, good. Yeah,
We
you're out.
going.
Yeah, swipe.
Leave it alone.
I think that one of the things that helped me learn how to be able to manage money, that taught me the biggest lessons, is being able to work commission.
Absolutely.
I think that a lot of people, when it's like, the trap you fall into is I make X amount of dollars every single week, it's the exact same, then I get a raise, it's a little bit more, then a little bit more, then I get laid off, right? And then people have no idea what to do. And when I think you have a little bit of a balance of, hey, I put this much effort in, this is what I made, and you've got to balance some of that. I don't know, to me it helped me make better decisions, and even, because it doesn't change, when you have,
That's a fact.
if you're making $10,000 a week, or $500 a week, a lot of the habits and the things you start to develop, they stay the same. That's why we have athletes that you hear about that make, tons of money, that make some bad decisions because they went from there to there and didn't
Of course.
kind of learn the lessons along the way.
I mean, completely.
That makes sense.
100%.
Yeah, that makes sense because that's you. You're in a hunt. I think we get accustomed to, and I think to an extent, people like other people paying money. Because when they don't have a certain amount of money in their bank account, they're not able to live a certain lifestyle, they're not able to make certain decisions. I think to a certain extent, they have someone to blame.
It's not my fault.
It creates a nice excuse.
It creates a
really
nice
good
excuse. Commission takes that away. It's like, motherfucker, you didn't work as hard as you should have to do what you wanted to do, because everybody loves commission when they're making the amount of money that they want to make. People only hate it when they haven't done the right things. I love commission when my check's $3,000. When I was coming up in O's office, and I didn't even make $3,000. I'm not even gonna lie on camera. Like I do $1,200, $1,300 pretty consistently. You know what I'm saying? $900 every single week, consistently. $1,000 consistently. Fucking love those weeks. I can make $1,000 in my sleep, and Okletey knows that, right? And if Okletey see me make $700 in a week, he'd be like, "Bro, what the fuck? You weren't working this week." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I was taking my foot off the gas," and I'd hate those weeks. But it's a great mirror because I have no one to blame besides myself. And to be honest, in today's world, where $700, like $700 to $1,000 is an okay week for me, I'll take that, right? But we don't enjoy it when we don't do the right things, but we love it when we do.
It's
I-
look. My bad. Give me a second. I think everyone. Look. Everyone that works salary is paid from a commission.
Yeah.
That's it. It's your salary is derived from a commission.
Of course.
I'm sorry. Like that's the truth, and you can hate commission all you want, but if your company is not getting a commission on something that they did and you're getting paid a salary, well, legally you can't have a job. You know what I mean? So you didn't make zero commission, you lost your job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you've lost.
It's a total trick, right? It's a mirage because it feels on the surface like it's more steady, right? Steady Eddie, laid off.
Yeah.
Versus-
Because layoff is because the commissions
What
went
happened?
down here.
Yeah, I
Yes.
like that.
Commissions went
Yeah,
down
let
here,
him
so
finish,
I have to lay people off.
Let him finish, because he's on to something.
Well, I think it's one of those things where when you go, okay, I didn't do a great job this week, right? Or I didn't give my best. It's a little warning. You're like, okay, I wasn't that good. I got to get better. I either got to get better, put more effort in. But at least I didn't get laid off, right? The tricky thing is the $40,000-$50,000 base salary, right? Where it's like didn't do very well, but nothing changes.
Yeah,
I think
something's
it's
coming.
done.
Something's
I think it's
coming.
Yo, that's
You
a
know
fact.
that. You know some shit's
Yeah,
coming.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
That shit keeps you
Alright.
working. It's
Scary.
like, okay,
you were saying something. You were saying something.
No, it's just,
it was that. It was
Yeah.
what Chris is saying.
Yeah, it's if the company is not doing well, people
Yeah.
get laid off.
You're in trouble.
You know what I mean? If you can't tie that back to the fact that is a commission, the company is being paid by someone else to provide a particular service, and if that service is not being provided the way it is supposed to be, then some people aren't getting paid the way they're supposed to be.
The way
You
they
lose
think
your
there's a
job.
job.
Right.
But
When they
commission
think they're
breeds
supposed
more
to.
entrepreneurs, right? Because
Of course.
when I started doing this, I became more aware of what the business was making as a whole.
So
I was like, wait, I made $1,500 this week on my paycheck. I'm cool. And so brought X amount of dollars in. I was aware of that, so I started thinking like a business owner. I'd have conversations about money, like, hey, what do we got to do to get everyone doing what I'm doing, which is making $1,000 a week? Because I know that if I can help the business overall, it's more opportunity for everyone.
Yeah.
And my job is to help everyone do better in this business. If I can't help everyone do better in this business, shit on top of shit's still shit either way. It doesn't matter if my paycheck's good, right? It doesn't matter if my paycheck's good if this person's struggling, because you can tell a person's worth and how well someone's doing in business when everyone around them's eating and doing well. So I wasn't in tune with that. I that wasn't on my radar when I was making picking up my little paycheck, getting my piece of the pie when I was a waiter or when I was getting a paycheck from somewhere, because I'm like, this is mine, and I'm really not concerned with anyone else made because it has nothing to do with me. But when I realized that there's money value being brought into our company, I started to look at, well, how much value does our company bring? Because if our company is bringing more value, it's equal to more opportunity for more people. And if there's more opportunity for more people, we're all going to grow our net worth, right? Zig Ziglar goes, you can have everything you want in life if you help enough people in life get what they want out of life, right? So when I looked around, I was like, well, you're not happy, you're not happy, you're not happy, you're not making money. And I was like, no, this is not how it's gonna work. And then we made it our mission to make sure everybody's making money. I can look at John and go, John, what's your check, man? Listen, let's go spend some money tonight. Matt, what's your check? Let's go spend some money tonight. I'm like, cool, we're doing something good, right? And if that's not the situation you're in, but I wasn't aware of that when it wasn't commission. It's like everybody takes their little piece of the pie.
All right, thanks.
No one's concerned with baking more
Well,
pies.
it's not a piece of the pie, it's crumbs.
Right.
You know, I'm sorry, man. It's not a piece of the pie. It's crumbs, because at that point, and we're talking about this afternoon, I think the biggest tool in this business is perspective, or the biggest advantage in this business is perspective. You know, because most people just don't have perspective. They have not been in situations where it's like, oh shit, okay, I did all this stuff and I'm valued at this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you came into the business, you were working for Nike. You were so bitter about that shit. You know, you were so bitter. You promised me a pair of shoes and you couldn't get them from me. You were so bitter about that. I remember that.
But he remembers.
4 years, I remember. But you were so bitter about that. But that drove you because you had perspective. You know, and I think for some people, they need it. I needed it. Shit, I needed it. You know, because I knew everything. You're going to tell me shit. You know, so I needed that kind of perspective. But you're right. It's like, it is what it is. It's like, what are you being told? Like, what have you seen your entire, you know, working career? And it's perspective. But you're about to say something.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think it was just primarily on the point of, you know, I think the attributes that lie in a person that can justify why taking on commission might make sense. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think every person can justify themselves that, maybe I'll give that a try. I mean, like, maybe I'll try to do that because, you know, I know the impact that it's had on myself. Do you know what I mean? It's definitely taught me hands down. Do you know what I mean? Like the perspective of, you know, putting the ball in your own court.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's a big deal. No one can pay anyone what they want to be paid.
No. But
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Someone can be working a job where they're getting paid $19 an hour, and that sounds really sweet to the guy getting paid $8.50 an hour.
Yeah.
And the guy that's getting paid $18, $19 an hour, still not satisfied.
No.
Right. That makes
No, because
sense.
come on, man, that's not a lot of money.
No.
Let's be honest. But like, but again, what you're saying though, it's, you know, it's nobody is going to pay you what you want to get paid by yourself.
At all.
That's the truth. That's just the truth. Is
What I think is interesting is that people will say, oftentimes, like, you know, they'll say the things that, like, I'm going to be the hardest working person. I'm going to put in all this effort. What they're saying is, like, bet on me, right? They're asking me as the employer to bet on them.
right.
Something that is going to be commission is essentially them going, cool, I'm going to bet on myself. And some people are scared to bet on themselves.
Because they know they're not going to come through when it matters. Because they're not a hard working person.
So
Yeah.
So you're not gonna
Wait, do they know though?
They don't know. They just.
Well, okay. It's kind of like the whole thing with like, I know it's wrong, but I'm going to justify it. It's like, I'm gonna work really hard. When it gets really hard, I probably won't, but they'll think that, so let me just get the job. Like, they know, dude. I think people know.
There's a certain type of person I think that sits back and is like, just wait. Watch till I show you.
Those are the people that I'm like, okay.
You know what I mean? Because like I think there's a certain type of person that sits in the room and that's them. You're like, wait until they see what I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We want those people.
Of course. You know what I mean? And
The people that say I'm gonna work so hard,
that,
they've said that
doesn't have to
before.
be said. You mean I don't have to sit in an interview and say I'm gonna work really hard to show results. Do you know what I mean? Like I think the person that's selling something.
You see, I was the guy that came in, and I thought I worked hard, right? I thought I had a crazy work ethic, you know what I mean? And I would go to the field and see other people and watch other people, you know, not get the results that I got. And, you know, I'd get all these accolades for working hard, and I was like, man.
What are you doing?
I went home and played FIFA and ate Chinese food. I didn't work that hard. You know what I mean? I worked harder than a lot of schmucks. That was like shit on top of shit is shit, right? And so it's just like, I did not understand what working hard was until I opened up my first business. You know, like I really didn't, you know, like talking to people, selling stuff. I didn't get it, you know, he works hard, you want to work hard? Shadow O. I didn't get it, you know, I didn't get it until I was at my office in Albuquerque until 11 o'clock, you know? Part of it was I didn't want to go home and see my ex. So.
On that note,
Yeah.
I want to ask y'all something. So we're at like right at like
Yeah, we gotta wrap it up.
we're at right in an hour, but I do want to ask like the last question if y'all would give me that. But like, what is y'all's biggest advice to everybody watching, listening? If you can give one piece of advice about money. One piece of advice about money. Like, what would that be?
Well, I'm only gonna give my biggest piece of advice based on what I wish I knew about money, because I think that's most valuable because I know, like, what I wish I knew. So, one?
I mean, it's really gonna be 6.
Right. No, I know. It's just like one for me. I mean,
Start.
yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
start.
yeah, go ahead, man.
Cool. I think the best piece of advice I would probably give is live below your means.
Smart.
Too many people buy shit that they can't afford
can't
to impress people that they fucking
That they
don't like.
don't.
Yeah.
Or they don't even
that
know.
aren't really that important to them. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Those people don't really bring value to their life anyway. But you know, I think I would say live below your means. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like you being able to go out in the middle of the week, 3 days before you get paid, to have dinner with someone that's important to you, is going to mean a lot more than you living in the absolute nicest apartment in town.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, there are too many people that they finish paying their bills and it's like, shit, it's Monday and I gotta figure out how to live up to $60.
I like that.
And they're proud!
Yeah,
They're proud of stretching a dollar!
My apartment's nice.
But it's like, they're
Come on,
proud of
dude, get out.
stretching a dollar.
Yeah, get
No,
out.
that ain't cool, man.
Yeah,
What
No.
are you doing?
Live below your means.
Yeah.
Dude, you can live in an apartment that costs you $500-$600 a month, have nice things in that apartment. Do you know what I mean? And then be able to go out to dinner with your significant other or the people that are important to you 2 or 3 times a
Do
week.
you.
And and you know what I mean? And live a life that actually, you know what I mean?
Means
Yeah,
something.
that's
It's like the
beneficial
guy
to
you just
you.
said with the Benz with the spare rim on.
I see that shit in Brooklyn all the time.
What you got, John?
6 years in the brownstone.
So for me, my biggest advice to people as far as when it comes to money, don't be the type of person that, like, I'm totally good with Max Summer for as far as, you know, living below your means, but don't be the type of person that penny pinches. Alright? Because I've seen that and I deal with it every day, right? We all see it. And I think...
Manchester United is doing that.
Right? So don't be so uptight with your money and, like, you know, hold every dollar so close to the chest, you know. And don't be afraid to actually use what you have, whether how much or how small, to invest.
Thank you.
Damn it.
I like that. That's dope. That's fire.
I think that's the biggest thing because, you know, if you do that, you have money problems, it's a possibility. Not saying it's a guarantee, but if you invest, you know, there's a possible way that you can come out your financial situation
100%.
ahead of the game, right? Because I think people play so much not to lose, then I realize like, yo, you gotta play to win. And I think that's really like one of the biggest things, like one of the biggest lessons I had to learn in this business, for sure.
So I think for me, and it's gonna go a little bit onto the investing, but also like back to like we were talking about like school and teaching people, you know, how to live in the sense of, you know, have good credit, right? Spend your money wisely, little things like that. I wish I knew how much money or how many options there were for me to invest in little things, like talking to you, real estate, right? Stocks, you know, one of my really good friends, I guess I can't say his name, but he invests in a bunch of little things and tells me about it all the time, and I'm like, man, that's so cool. So my biggest piece of advice would be invest, like set aside money each week to where you can invest that into different things. I think it's more important to invest more width than depth, but I think it's really just smart to invest because you're putting your money where it can grow.
Smart. And to piggyback off of it, something I started doing 12 years ago is I started taking it, at this point it was probably like $15 a week, maybe $25 a week, something that was small, and I just put it into a different, like to a savings. So even if I felt like I couldn't save much of anything, but that habit I've had for 12 years. And so as I've done better, what I save every week is a bigger amount than it was 12 years ago, but it's the habit of 12 years ago. So if someone goes, man, I barely have enough to get by, just create the habit of just something. I don't care if it feels like minuscule, something. I think that's killer advice. I don't know, I'd go with one of two. One is, it's like I've heard this from someone and it was impactful, but it is that financial independence is greater than displaying high social status. I think it's just a good reminder of like, do I want to be able to have financial independence or do I want to show off for people? And I would rather be able, for me, I'd rather have financial independence than have to fit in or have to do stuff to look that way. Other little one cheating is that your money compounds and will multiply if you control the W's, which is what you do, when you do it, where you do it, and who you do it with. And so I think there's just lots of decisions we can make of just all sorts of ways we can be able to cut back on spending money or doing it in smarter ways you don't need to go to the place that's the most expensive place on that night. You don't need to buy drinks for everybody. You don't need, so I just think your money can compound and multiply if you control those W's.
I like that.
So no flexing, huh?
That's fine.
Time and a place, where, when, with who, And if you're gonna do it some places, don't do it everywhere, right? Too many people go, I did this, so I gotta go bigger. It's like the birthday party at 4 years old, then 5 years old, it's like at 6 years old. If you gotta keep going bigger, eventually it's, you're in trouble.
My advice is live by rules. I a lot of people laugh at me for this, but I live with very strict rules. And I live with financial rules. The same way I live with, just ethical and moral rules. And the reason I do this is there's going to be a day where I get hit with, certain costs. It happens. And I don't want to be looking for the money at that point. I don't want the stress of that. So for me, I live by very strict rules. If Megan asks me for something and I'm like, okay, my rule this week is spend this much money, all right, cool, you get it. If not, you don't get it. And you can say whatever you want to say to me, but this is my rule and I put it in place so you can have a much better life. So if you want this, whatever it is, and it's not, it's not within our rules, we don't get it.
I like that.
And for me, it's just, I know, shit makes sense when, shit gets different. So at that point, I'm not going based on whatever it is, but that comes to the biggest the big advice is be financially responsible.
Mm-hmm.
When I say financially responsible, I was talking to Chris about this. Sometimes we get advice where pile up all this money, pile up all this money in a bank, put a 200 grand, 300 grand. When we're talking about it depends on where you are in your life, right? But at some point, it becomes financially responsible if that money is idle and not working for you. Because you work so hard for that money, you need to demand that money works for you now. Because you put that shit in, what is the interest on that? Fucking negligible, right? So I'm not saying, hey, don't have money in the bank. I'm saying have money in the bank. But be smart enough to have some of that money work for you while you ain't doing anything. You're just putting more money in there to work for you. So when I talk about financial responsibility, I'm like, educate yourself, man. Like, we have YouTube, we have Google, we have all this shit. Nobody, no one watching this right now has any fucking excuse to not be educated on a little bit about what money can do for you. Sorry, man, the banks don't give you as much. Look for shit, read some shit, ask some shit, and actually use your money to make more money.
Like that. Mine is simple, man. I don't have much to say on it. I'm just gonna say, do what makes sense now. It's awesome to have big goals, but I think it's important to go, I would love this, but I can't do it now. Or I love this, but it doesn't make sense today. And I think too many people justify things based on, yeah, but I'm gonna need it. Yeah, you will need it, but today doesn't allow you to do that. So take care of today, and tomorrow will take care of you. And then, if you can take care of today and you do that, I don't think any big decision there's no big moments. I think every moment is a big moment. And I think the great moments are made based on a lot of small decisions. And if you make a lot of small decisions now, you're able to make a lot of big decisions later, right? The reason I run a business now is because of a year and a half I went knocking on doors. The reason that I can do certain things now is because of the times that I took a lot of no's. Now not all I want to hear is yes, because I can afford to hear yes, right? So whatever it might be, I think that it's the same thing with money. Understand that you can go, it's not in my lane right now, and that's okay. But you gotta live. There's a really good book, it's called The Power of Now. But you gotta live in the now to be able to live in the. I'm not saying not to think about the future. I'm saying to understand what your current situation is and maximize the now.
It's kind of like pay now, play later.
Maximize the now.
Same idea.
All right. Well, there's obviously a lot more to be said, but we don't have the time. But you know what? Just want to say thank you. We're gonna wrap this up. I think it has been very educational for myself, and I feel for everybody watching and everybody involved. We'll be back next week with episode 5. Make sure you tune in. All our Instagram tags will be on the screen. Go ahead and follow us for content and stuff like that. We'll be on the YouTube channel, and it'll be down there. You guys can follow that. TeiConsultingGroup.com. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you have anything that you want us to talk about. Nothing is off limits. Trust me, nothing is off limits. You heard us cuss over here and drink alcohol. And give us whatever feedback. You hate it, you love it, you're indifferent. We want to hear it all. Thank you guys.